What if self-doubt is just a story you've been telling yourself? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These words, written centuries ago, still resonate deeply today because self-doubt is something we all face. It creeps in during moments of uncertainty, whispering that we're not good enough, not smart enough, or not capable enough. But what if you could rewrite that story? What if you could silence those doubts and step into your full potential? This video is your guide to doing just that. Through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, we'll explore 26 powerful techniques to crush self-doubt and build unshakable confidence. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine. It's about understanding your mind, taking control of your thoughts, and transforming challenges into opportunities for growth. From practical exercises to profound philosophical insights, each technique will give you the tools to face life's uncertainties with resilience and clarity. So, whether you're struggling with self-doubt in your career, relationships, or personal goals, this video is for you. Together, we'll uncover how Stoic principles can help you rewrite your story, one thought at a time. Let's begin. Stoicism teaches us that the only thing we truly control is our own mind. Everything else, what people think, the outcomes of our efforts, even the challenges life throws at us, exists outside our control. This idea, known as the Dichotomy of Control, is one of the most powerful tools Stoicism offers for overcoming self-doubt. When we obsess over external results, we give away our power. We become prisoners to circumstances, constantly second-guessing ourselves and questioning our worth. But when we redirect our focus inward to our thoughts, choices, and reactions, we reclaim that power. As Epictetus famously said, some things are in our control and others are not. The key is to stop wasting energy on what we can't change and start investing it in what we can. Think about a time when you received criticism at work or in a personal relationship. Maybe it felt unfair, or maybe it hit a nerve because deep down you feared it was true. Self-doubt thrives in these moments, convincing us that we're not good enough or that we've failed. But what if, instead of fixating on the criticism itself, you focused on how you respond to it? You can't control what others say, but you can control how you interpret their words, how you process your emotions, and how you move forward. This shift in focus doesn't just reduce self-doubt, it builds confidence. It reminds you that you are the author of your own story, not the opinions of others. Take a moment to reflect. Where in your life are you focusing too much on what you can't control? Is it a promotion you're hoping for, a relationship you're trying to mend, or a goal you're afraid you won't achieve? Now ask yourself, what would it look like to shift your attention inward? What thoughts, actions, or attitudes can you take charge of right now? This simple yet profound Stoic practice doesn't just help you crush self-doubt. It helps you build a mindset that's resilient, grounded, and ready to face whatever comes your way. What if the worst-case scenario isn't as terrifying as your mind makes it out to be? This is the heart of the Stoic practice known as premeditatio malorum, or negative visualization. The idea isn't to dwell on fear or pessimism, but to confront it head-on. By imagining the worst that could happen, you strip away its power over you. Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest thinkers, often spoke about this technique. He believed that by preparing for adversity, we not only reduce our fear of it, but also become more resilient when it arrives. Picture this: you're about to give a public speech and your mind is racing with doubts. What if you forget your lines? What if the audience doesn't engage? Instead of letting these thoughts paralyze you, take a moment to visualize the worst-case scenario. See yourself stumbling, hear the silence in the room, feel the heat of embarrassment. Now ask yourself, is it really as bad as you feared? Often the answer is no. This practice does more than just calm your nerves, it gives you a plan. When you've already walked through the worst in your mind, you're better equipped to handle it if it happens. You've rehearsed your response, and suddenly, the unknown feels a little less daunting. It's not about expecting failure, it's about being prepared for it, and in that preparation you find freedom. Freedom from the paralyzing grip of self-doubt, freedom to act with clarity and confidence even in the face of uncertainty. Let's bring this into your own life. Think of a challenge you're currently facing, whether it's a difficult conversation, a career milestone, or a personal goal you're hesitant to pursue. What's the worst that could happen? Visualize it, walk through every detail, then ask yourself, how would I respond? What steps could I take to move forward? By doing this, you're not just preparing for the worst, you're building a foundation of strength and resilience. You're reminding yourself that even if things don't go as planned, you have the tools to adapt and persevere. Stoicism teaches us that fear and self-doubt are often rooted in the unknown. Negative visualization shines a light on that darkness, showing us that even the worst-case scenario is something we can navigate. It's a practice that doesn't just reduce fear, it transforms it into a source of power. And in that transformation, you find the courage to step forward, no matter what lies ahead. Perfection is an illusion, and Stoicism reminds us to embrace our flaws. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." These words aren't just about accepting external circumstances, they're about accepting ourselves, imperfections and all. Self-doubt often thrives when we hold ourselves to impossible standards, chasing an ideal that doesn't exist. We compare ourselves to others, measure our progress against unrealistic benchmarks, and convince ourselves that anything less than perfect is failure. But what if, instead of striving for perfection, we embrace the beauty of being human? Think about the last time you tried to learn something new, a language, an instrument, or even a sport. Did you expect to master it overnight? If you're like most people, you probably felt frustrated when you stumbled, when your progress didn't match the image in your mind. That frustration, that voice telling you you're not good enough, is the root of self-doubt. But what if you approached that same challenge with a Stoic mindset? What if you saw every mistake as a lesson, every stumble as a step forward? Stoicism teaches us that imperfection isn't a flaw, it's a feature of being human. It's through our mistakes that we grow, through our struggles that we become stronger. Imagine a sculptor shaping a block of marble. Each strike of the chisel removes a piece, but it's those very imperfections that reveal the masterpiece within. The same is true for us. Every misstep, every moment of doubt is an opportunity to refine who we are. So, where in your life are you holding yourself to an impossible standard? Is it at work where you feel like every project has to be flawless? In your relationships where you pressure yourself to always say the right thing? Or maybe it's in your personal goals where you've convinced yourself that progress isn't enough unless it's perfect. Take a moment to identify one area where you can let go of perfectionism. What would it feel like to give yourself permission to be imperfect? How might that shift change the way you approach challenges, the way you see yourself? Embracing imperfection doesn't mean settling for less. It means freeing yourself from the weight of unrealistic expectations. It means recognizing that self-doubt loses its power when we stop chasing an illusion and start celebrating who we are right here, right now. And in that acceptance, you'll find not just confidence, but a deeper sense of peace. After all, as the Stoics remind us, the goal isn't to be perfect, it's to be fully, authentically human. Do you truly know yourself? It's a question that might seem simple at first, but the answer can be surprisingly elusive. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, a tool that helps us dig deep into the roots of our self-doubt and uncover the stories we tell ourselves. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most influential teachers, emphasized the importance of self-examination. He believed that to live a life of virtue and resilience, we must first understand our own thoughts, desires, and fears. Without this understanding, we risk being ruled by emotions and external pressures, leaving us vulnerable to doubt and insecurity. Imagine your mind as a garden. Just as a gardener must regularly tend to their plants, pulling weeds, nurturing growth, and ensuring sunlight reaches every corner, we must tend to our thoughts. Self-awareness is the act of stepping into that garden, observing what's growing and asking why. What beliefs are rooted in your mind? Are they serving you or are they holding you back? Often, self-doubt isn't just a random feeling. It's the result of unexamined fears or limiting beliefs that have taken hold over time. One practical way to cultivate self-awareness is through journaling. The Stoics were avid journalers, using writing as a way to reflect on their day, examine their reactions, and identify patterns in their thoughts. When you sit down to journal, you're not just writing, you're holding up a mirror to your mind. You might start by asking yourself, what triggered my self-doubt today? What thoughts or beliefs came up when I felt unsure? Over time, this practice helps you spot recurring themes, like a fear of failure or a tendency to compare yourself to others. But self-awareness doesn't stop at journaling. It's about creating space in your day to pause and reflect. Take a walk without distractions, sit quietly with your thoughts, or simply ask yourself, what's driving my decisions right now? These moments of introspection can reveal surprising truths about what's really going on beneath the surface. Let's bring this into your own life. Think about a recent moment when self-doubt crept in. What were you thinking in that moment? What story were you telling yourself? Maybe it was something like, I'm not qualified for this, or what if I embarrass myself? Now take a step back. Where did that story come from? Is it based on facts, or is it a fear that's been lingering in the background? By shining a light on these thoughts, you begin to see them for what they are, just thoughts, not facts. Self-awareness is like a flashlight in a dark room. It doesn't change the room itself, but it shows you what's already there. And when you can see clearly, you can start to make changes. You can challenge those limiting beliefs, reframe your inner dialogue, and take steps toward building confidence. It's not about eliminating self-doubt overnight. It's about understanding where it comes from and taking control of how you respond to it. So how will you cultivate self-awareness today? Will you pick up a journal, take a reflective walk, or simply pause to ask yourself a few honest questions? Remember, the goal isn't to judge yourself, it's to understand yourself. And in that understanding, you'll find the clarity and strength to move forward, one thought at a time. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's a stepping stone. This simple yet profound idea lies at the heart of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics didn't see failure as something to fear or avoid, they saw it as a teacher. Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest voices, once wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Think about that for a moment. When you face a setback, it's not a sign that you're incapable or destined to fall short. It's an opportunity to grow stronger, to learn, and to refine your approach. History is filled with stories of people who turned failure into fuel. Take Thomas Edison, for example. When inventing the light bulb, he faced thousands of unsuccessful attempts, but instead of seeing each failure as a defeat, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the Stoic mindset in action. Edison didn't let setbacks define him. He used them as data points, as feedback to guide his next steps. Now let's bring this into your own life. Think about a recent failure or setback you've experienced. Maybe it was a project that didn't go as planned, a goal you didn't reach, or a mistake you made in a relationship. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What worked, what didn't, and how can I use this experience to do better next time? Reframing failure as feedback doesn't mean ignoring the sting of disappointment. It means shifting your perspective. It means seeing failure not as a dead end, but as a detour, one that can lead you to a better, more informed path. When you approach setbacks with curiosity rather than fear, you take the power away from self-doubt and give it back to yourself. Stoicism teaches us that life is full of obstacles, but every obstacle is an opportunity to practice resilience. The next time you face a challenge, try this. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can I take from this?" That subtle shift in mindset can transform how you see failure and how you see yourself. So, what's one failure you can reframe today? What lesson is waiting for you in that experience? When you start to see setbacks as stepping stones, you'll find that self-doubt loses its grip and confidence begins to grow. After all, as the Stoics remind us, the path to success isn't a straight line, it's a journey of learning, adapting, and rising stronger every time you fall. What are you grateful for today? It's a question that might seem simple, but its impact can be profound. Gratitude is more than just a fleeting feeling, it's a practice, a mindset, and a powerful tool for combating self-doubt. When we focus on what we lack or fear, self-doubt thrives. But when we shift our attention to what we already have, to the abundance in our lives, we create a space where confidence can grow. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often reflected on gratitude, reminding himself of the countless gifts life had given him, even in the midst of challenges. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." These words are a reminder that gratitude is not just about acknowledging the big, life-changing moments. It's about finding beauty in the ordinary, the everyday. Gratitude aligns perfectly with Stoic principles because it redirects our focus from what we can't control to what we can appreciate. It's a practice that doesn't deny hardship but instead helps us see beyond it. When self-doubt whispers that you're not enough, gratitude counters with evidence of your worth. It's not about ignoring your struggles, it's about balancing them with a sense of perspective. Think about it, even on your hardest days, there's always something to be grateful for: a kind word from a friend, the warmth of the sun, the ability to learn and grow. These small moments, when acknowledged, can shift your entire outlook. Here's a simple yet transformative exercise to get started. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be grand or extraordinary, they just have to be meaningful to you. Maybe it's the way your morning coffee tastes, the support of a loved one, or even the opportunity to face a challenge that's helping you grow. The act of writing them down forces you to pause, to reflect, and to truly notice the good that exists in your life. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to seek out the positive, creating a habit of appreciation that naturally crowds out self-doubt. Let's try it right now. Take a moment to think of 3 things you're grateful for today. Hold them in your mind and let yourself really feel that sense of appreciation. Notice how it shifts your energy, how it softens the edges of doubt. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about creating a counterbalance, a reminder that even in the midst of uncertainty, there is still so much to be thankful for. Gratitude doesn't just change how you see the world, it changes how you see yourself. When you consistently practice gratitude, you begin to notice your own strength, your resilience, your capacity for joy. You start to see that you are enough, not because you've achieved some impossible standard, but because you're here, alive and capable of growth. And in that realization, self-doubt begins to lose its grip. So, what will you add to your gratitude list today? How might this simple practice reshape the way you approach challenges, the way you see yourself, and the way you move through the world? Gratitude is more than a technique, it's a lens through which you can view your life, one that reveals the beauty, strength, and possibility that have been there all along. Your worth is not defined by others' opinions. This simple yet radical idea is at the heart of Stoic philosophy, and it's a game changer when it comes to crushing self-doubt. Think about it. How much of your energy is spent worrying about what others think of you? Whether it's a boss's feedback, a friend's comment, or the number of likes on a social media post, we often give away our power by seeking validation from outside sources. But Stoicism teaches us that true confidence comes from within. As Epictetus wisely said, if anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said, but answer, he was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone. In other words, the opinions of others are not a reflection of your worth, they're a reflection of their own perspective. Let's take a moment to talk about social media. It's a modern-day arena where external validation often feels like currency. You post a photo, share a thought, or update your status, and then what? You wait, you refresh, you count the likes, the comments, the shares, and if the numbers don't meet your expectations, self-doubt creeps in. Was it not good enough? Do people not care? These questions can spiral, leaving you feeling small and uncertain. But here's the truth, those numbers don't define you. They don't measure your creativity, your intelligence, or your value as a person. Stoicism invites us to step back from this cycle of seeking approval. It asks us to consider, what if we stopped looking outward for validation and started looking inward? What if, instead of waiting for others to tell us we're enough, we told ourselves, this doesn't mean ignoring feedback or isolating yourself. It means recognizing that your worth isn't up for debate. It's inherent, unchanging, and entirely your own. So, where in your life are you seeking external validation? Is it at work, where you're constantly trying to prove yourself to your colleagues? In your relationships, where you fear being judged or rejected? Or maybe it's on social media, where you measure your worth by the reactions of others. Take a moment to reflect. What would it feel like to let go of that need for approval? What if you could truly believe that you are enough just as you are? Detaching from external validation isn't about becoming indifferent to others. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about choosing to define yourself on your own terms, not by the ever-changing standards of the world around you. When you stop seeking validation from outside, you create space for something far more powerful, self-trust, and in that trust you'll find the confidence to move forward, unshaken by the opinions of others. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with a simple choice. The next time you feel the pull of external validation, pause. Ask yourself, why does this matter to me? What am I really seeking? And then remind yourself, your worth is not up for debate. It's not defined by likes, comments, or anyone else's approval. It's already within you, waiting to be recognized. And when you do, self-doubt begins to fade, replaced by a quiet, unshakable confidence that no one can take away. Are you truly present right now? Take a moment to pause and check in with yourself. Are your thoughts drifting to something that happened yesterday, or are you already worrying about what might happen tomorrow? So often, self-doubt thrives in these moments of distraction, pulling us away from the only place we can truly act, the present moment. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not disturb yourself by picturing your life as a whole. Do not assemble in your mind the many troubles that have come to you in the past and will come again in the future, but ask yourself with regard to every present difficulty, what is there in this that is unbearable and beyond endurance?" These words remind us that the present moment is where life happens and where we have the power to make choices. The Stoics understood that self-doubt often stems from regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. We replay old mistakes, questioning whether we could have done better, or we project fears onto what's to come. imagining worst-case scenarios that may never happen. But here's the truth: the past is gone and the future is uncertain. The only moment we truly have is this one. And when we anchor ourselves in the present, we reclaim our ability to act with clarity and confidence. One of the simplest yet most powerful ways to practice this is through mindful breathing. It's a technique that doesn't require any special tools or training, just you and your breath. Here's how it works. Find a quiet space, close your eyes if you're comfortable, and take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment, then exhale gently through your mouth. As you breathe, focus entirely on the sensation of air moving in and out of your body. If your mind starts to wander, and it will, gently guide it back to your breath. This simple exercise isn't just about relaxation. It's about training your mind to stay present, even when distractions pull you in every direction. Think about how this applies to your daily life. When you're stuck in a meeting, scrolling through your phone, or even having a conversation with someone, how often are you truly there? How often are you fully engaged, rather than half listening while your mind races elsewhere? Being present isn't just a way to combat self-doubt. It's a way to live more fully, to connect more deeply, and to act with intention. So let's try this together. Right now, as you're watching or listening to this, take one deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs, then release it slowly. Notice how that simple act brings you back to the here and now. It's a reminder that you don't have to carry the weight of the past or the uncertainty of the future. All you need to do is be here in this moment and take the next step. Living in the present isn't about ignoring the past or dismissing the future. It's about recognizing that the only thing you can truly control is what you do right now. And when you focus on that, self-doubt loses its grip. You're no longer held back by what might have been or what could be. You're free to act, to create, and to move forward one mindful moment at a time. How will you practice being present today? Whether it's through mindful breathing, a walk in nature, or simply pausing to savor a moment of stillness, the choice is yours. And in that choice, you'll find not just clarity, but the confidence to embrace life as it happens, right here, right now. Adversity is the forge of resilience. It's in the fire of challenges that we are tempered, shaped, and ultimately made stronger. Stoicism teaches us that hardship isn't something to avoid or fear. It's something to embrace, because it's through adversity that we develop the strength to endure, adapt, and thrive. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most profound thinkers, put it this way: "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." These words remind us that the struggles we face aren't just obstacles, they're opportunities to build resilience and deepen our character. Consider the life of Nelson Mandela. For 27 years, he endured imprisonment under unimaginable conditions. Yet, instead of allowing that adversity to break him, he used it as a crucible to refine his spirit. Mandela emerged not with bitterness, but with a vision of reconciliation and hope that transformed a nation. His story is a testament to the Stoic belief that challenges, no matter how daunting, can become the very tools that shape us into who we're meant to be. So, how can we apply this to our own lives? Think about a challenge you're currently facing. It might be a difficult project at work, a strained relationship, or even a personal goal that feels out of reach. Instead of seeing it as a source of frustration or self-doubt, try reframing it as an opportunity for growth. Ask yourself, what can this teach me? How can I use this experience to become stronger, wiser, or more compassionate? This isn't about pretending that hardship doesn't hurt or that challenges are easy. It's about shifting your perspective. When you view adversity as a teacher rather than an enemy, you take back control. You stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming an active participant in your own growth. Let's take this a step further. Identify one specific challenge in your life right now. Maybe it's a situation that's been weighing on you, a fear that's been holding you back, or a setback that's left you feeling discouraged. Now, imagine yourself on the other side of it. What strengths will you have gained? What lessons will you have learned? By focusing on the growth that can come from adversity, you transform it from a source of self-doubt into a foundation for resilience. Stoicism doesn't promise that life will be easy, but it does offer a powerful truth. You have the capacity to endure, to adapt, and to grow. Adversity isn't the end of your story, it's a chapter that strengthens the narrative. So the next time you face a challenge, remember, it's not just an obstacle. It's an opportunity to build the resilience that will carry you forward, no matter what lies ahead. What challenge will you reframe today? How will you use it to become stronger, more resilient, and more confident in your ability to face whatever comes your way? The choice is yours, and in that choice lies the power to transform adversity into strength. Why do we compare ourselves to others? It's a question that has haunted humanity for centuries, and yet in today's hyper-connected world, it feels more pressing than ever. Social media, with its endless highlight reels, amplifies this tendency, making it easy to measure our worth against others' achievements. But here's the truth: comparison is a thief of joy and confidence. It distracts us from our own journey, leaving us feeling inadequate and stuck in a cycle of self-doubt. Stoicism, however, offers a powerful antidote to this modern malaise. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most influential teachers, famously said, "He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have." At its core, this statement challenges us to look inward rather than outward. It reminds us that true contentment and true progress comes from focusing on our own path, not someone else's. When we constantly compare ourselves to others, we're essentially outsourcing our self-worth to external factors, things we can't control. And as Stoicism teaches us, the only thing we truly control is our own mind. Let's bring this into a real-world scenario. Imagine you're at a point in your career where you feel stuck. Maybe a colleague just got promoted or a friend landed their dream job. The temptation to compare is strong. You start questioning your skills, your choices, even your value. But what if, instead of measuring yourself against their success, you focused on your own growth? What if you set personal goals that align with your values and aspirations, rather than chasing someone else's definition of success? Here's a practical exercise to try. Take a moment to write down 3 personal goals that are meaningful to you. They don't have to be grand or impressive by anyone else's standards. They just have to matter to you. Maybe it's improving a skill, deepening a relationship, or even taking better care of your mental health. Then ask yourself, what steps can I take today to move closer to these goals? By shifting your focus inward, you reclaim your power. You stop being a spectator in someone else's story and start being the author of your own. Stoicism doesn't just teach us to avoid comparisons, it teaches us to replace them with something far more empowering: self-reflection. When you reflect on your own progress, no matter how small, you build a sense of pride and purpose that no external benchmark can provide. You begin to see that success isn't a race against others, it's a journey of becoming the best version of yourself. So, where in your life are you falling into the comparison trap? Is it in your career, your relationships, or even your personal goals? Take a moment to identify one area where you can shift your focus inward. What would it feel like to measure your progress by your own standards, not someone else's? When you stop comparing and start creating, you'll find that self-doubt fades and confidence grows, not because you've beaten anyone else, but because you've stayed true to yourself. The next time you catch yourself comparing, remember this: your journey is unique, and so is your potential. The only person you need to measure up to is the person you were yesterday. And in that realization, you'll find the freedom to move forward, unburdened by the weight of comparison. and ready to embrace the limitless possibilities of your own path. Discomfort is a teacher. It's a lesson the Stoics understood deeply, and one that can transform the way we approach self-doubt. Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest voices, once wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" This practice, known as voluntary discomfort, isn't about punishing yourself or seeking out unnecessary hardship. It's about building mental toughness, proving to yourself that you can endure more than you think, and dismantling the fear that fuels self-doubt. Think about it. So much of our anxiety stems from the unknown, from the fear of what might happen if things go wrong. But what if you could face discomfort head-on and discover that you're stronger than you imagined? That's the power of voluntary discomfort. By intentionally stepping into situations that challenge you, whether it's fasting for a day, taking a cold shower, or even waking up an hour earlier, you train your mind to handle adversity. You show yourself that you can thrive even when conditions aren't ideal. Let's take cold showers as an example. At first, the idea might seem daunting. Why would anyone choose to be uncomfortable? But here's the thing, that initial shock of cold water isn't just a physical challenge, it's a mental one. It forces you to stay present, to focus on your breath, and to push through the discomfort. And when you do, you prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. Over time, this practice builds resilience, not just in the moment, but in the way you approach challenges in every area of your life. The beauty of voluntary discomfort is that it doesn't have to be extreme. You don't need to climb a mountain or sleep on the floor to reap the benefits. Start small. Try skipping a meal and see how it feels to sit with hunger. Or turn off the heater in your car for a week and embrace the chill. These small acts of discomfort might seem trivial, but they're powerful reminders that you're capable of enduring and adapting. So, what's one act of voluntary discomfort you can try today? Maybe it's turning down the thermostat, walking instead of driving, or even deleting a social media app for a week. Whatever it is, the goal isn't to make yourself miserable, it's to prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort, that you're stronger than your doubts. Stoicism teaches us that life will inevitably bring challenges, but by practicing voluntary discomfort, we prepare ourselves to face them with courage and resilience. It's not about seeking hardship for its own sake, it's about building the mental muscle to handle whatever comes your way. And in that preparation, you'll find a quiet confidence, one that whispers, "You've got this," even when the path feels uncertain. What small step will you take today to embrace discomfort? How might this practice reshape the way you see yourself and the challenges you face? The choice is yours, and in that choice lies the power to transform fear into strength. What matters more, winning or how you play the game? It's a question that cuts to the heart of Stoic philosophy. While the world often measures success by outcomes, titles, awards, promotions, or wealth, Stoicism challenges us to redefine what true success looks like. For the Stoics, the highest good wasn't external achievements but internal virtue. Marcus Aurelius put it plainly, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." This idea, simple yet profound, invites us to shift our focus from what we accomplish to how we accomplish it. Let's break this down. Imagine you're at work faced with a difficult decision. Maybe it's a chance to cut corners to meet a deadline or take credit for someone else's idea to impress your boss. The external outcome, getting praised, meeting the deadline, or even securing a promotion, might seem like the ultimate goal. But Stoicism asks us to consider a different question. What kind of person do I want to be? By focusing on virtue, integrity, honesty, fairness, you align your actions with your values regardless of the outcome. This doesn't mean Stoics dismiss success or ambition. It's not about rejecting external goals, but about prioritizing what's within your control, your character. Think of it like this: you can't guarantee that you'll win the game, but you can ensure that you play with honor, resilience, and respect for yourself and others. And in doing so, you cultivate something far more enduring than a trophy or a title. You build a life of integrity. Here's a practical way to apply this in your own life. The next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, ask yourself, what would a virtuous person do? Not a perfect person, but someone guided by principles like courage, wisdom, and compassion. Maybe it's choosing to speak up in a meeting even when it's uncomfortable, or admitting a mistake instead of deflecting blame. These small acts of virtue might not always lead to immediate rewards, but they strengthen your character and over time build unshakable confidence. So take a moment to reflect. What values guide your decisions? Are you more focused on the outcome or the process? What would it look like to prioritize virtue over external success in your own life? By shifting your focus inward, you're not just building a better version of yourself, you're creating a foundation of confidence that no setback can shake. Stoicism reminds us that life is unpredictable. Outcomes are often beyond our control, but our character is not. And when we focus on virtue, we find a source of strength and clarity that transcends the highs and lows of external success. It's not about winning the game, it's about playing it with integrity, and in doing so, winning something far greater, the respect of the person you see in the mirror. Writing is thinking on paper. It's a simple idea, but one that holds immense power, especially when it comes to untangling the web of self-doubt. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most renowned Stoic philosophers, kept a personal journal that we now know as Meditations. In it, he reflected on his thoughts, struggles, and principles, writing lines like, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." These weren't just lofty musings, they were practical tools for self-examination, a way to bring clarity to his inner world. Journaling is more than just putting words on a page, it's a conversation with yourself. When self-doubt creeps in, it often feels like a storm of thoughts swirling in your mind. You can't see clearly, and it's hard to know what's real and what's just noise. But when you write those thoughts down, you give them shape. You can examine them, question them, and decide whether they serve you or hold you back. Here's a practical way to start. Each day, set aside a few minutes to write about your thoughts and experiences. It doesn't have to be perfect or poetic, just honest. Ask yourself questions like, what's been weighing on my mind? Where am I holding myself back? Or, what's one small step I can take today to move forward? The act of writing forces you to slow down, to process your emotions, and to see your situation from a new perspective. Let's take it a step further. Imagine you're facing a big decision, like whether to pursue a new job or end a relationship. Your mind might be racing with doubts. What if I fail? What if I regret this? Instead of letting those thoughts spiral, grab a notebook and write them down. Then ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And how would I handle it? By putting your fears into words, you take away their power. You transform vague anxieties into concrete challenges that you can address. The beauty of journaling is that it's personal. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You don't need fancy tools or hours of free time, just a notebook and a willingness to be honest with yourself. Over time, this practice becomes a mirror, reflecting your growth and helping you see patterns in your thoughts and behaviors. You start to notice when self-doubt is just a habit, not a truth. And in that awareness, you find the clarity to move forward with confidence. So, what's stopping you from starting a journal today? It doesn't have to be a monumental task. Just a few sentences each day can make a difference. Think of it as a gift to your future self, a way to track your progress and remind yourself of your strength. As Marcus Aurelius showed us, the act of writing isn't just about recording thoughts, it's about uncovering the wisdom and resilience that already exist within you. What will your journal reveal about you? What insights might you uncover when you take the time to reflect? The answers are waiting, one page at a time. Can you change the past? It's a simple question, but its implications are profound. No matter how much we wish, regret, or replay events in our minds, the past remains unchangeable. And yet, so much of our self-doubt stems from clinging to what's already happened, mistakes we've made, opportunities we've missed, or words we wish we could take back. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to this cycle, the practice of accepting what cannot be changed. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most influential teachers, put it this way: make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. This principle, known as the Dichotomy of Control, reminds us that some things are simply beyond our influence. The past is one of them. Acceptance, in the Stoic sense, doesn't mean resignation or giving up. It means freeing yourself from the weight of what you can't control so you can focus your energy on what you can. Let's bring this into a real-world scenario. Imagine you missed a job opportunity because you hesitated to apply. Maybe you thought you weren't qualified, or maybe fear held you back. Now, weeks or even months later, you're still replaying that moment, wondering what could have been. The regret feels heavy and self-doubt creeps in. Why didn't I take the chance? What's wrong with me? But here's the truth: that moment is gone. No amount of regret can bring it back. This is where Stoic acceptance comes in. Instead of dwelling on what you can't change, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Maybe it taught you to trust your instincts or to prepare more thoroughly for the next opportunity. By shifting your focus from regret to growth, you transform a moment of self-doubt into a stepping stone for the future. Now, let's make this personal. Take a moment to think about something in your own life that you're struggling to accept. Maybe it's a past mistake, a missed connection, or even a failure that still weighs on you. Write it down if it helps, then ask yourself, can I change this? If the answer is no, consider what steps you can take to let it go. This isn't about forgetting or dismissing the experience. It's about freeing yourself from its grip so you can move forward with clarity and purpose. Acceptance is a practice, not a one-time event. It's about training your mind to release what's beyond your control and redirect your energy toward what you can influence. When you do this, something remarkable happens. Self-doubt begins to lose its power. You stop being a prisoner of the past and start becoming the architect of your future. So, what's one thing you need to accept today? What weight can you set down so you can walk forward a little lighter? The choice is yours, and in that choice lies the freedom to embrace life as it is, not as you wish it could be. Acceptance isn't the end of growth, it's the beginning. And in that beginning, you'll find the confidence to create the life you truly want. How you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. Think about it. Those first moments after you wake up can either leave you feeling scattered and reactive or centered and intentional. The Stoics understood the power of mornings, and they used this time to ground themselves in purpose and clarity. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, wrote, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life." This idea isn't just poetic, it's practical. By treating each morning as a fresh start, you create space to build confidence and focus one day at a time. A Stoic morning routine doesn't have to be elaborate or time-consuming. It's about carving out a few moments to align your mind with your values before the demands of the day take over. For some, this might mean starting with a few minutes of meditation, focusing on your breath and setting an intention for the day ahead. For others, it could involve reading a passage from a Stoic text like Marcus Aurelius's Meditations to remind yourself of what truly matters. These small acts of reflection help you step into the day with clarity, rather than letting external pressures dictate your mood or decisions. Let's make this tangible. Imagine waking up and giving yourself just 10 minutes to sit quietly, free from distractions. You might start by taking 3 deep breaths, feeling the air fill your lungs and then release. As you breathe, bring to mind one thing you're grateful for and one thing you want to accomplish today. This simple practice doesn't just calm your mind, it gives you a sense of direction, a reminder that you're in control of how you respond to whatever comes your way. The beauty of a morning routine is that it's entirely yours. It's not about copying someone else's habits but finding what works for you. Maybe it's journaling for 5 minutes, writing down your thoughts and setting a small, achievable goal. Or perhaps it's a quick walk outside, letting the fresh air and natural light reset your energy. The key is consistency. When you make this time sacred, even if it's just a few minutes, you create a foundation of calm and confidence that carries you through the day. So, what would your perfect morning look like? What small ritual could you introduce to start your day with intention and clarity? Whether it's meditation, reading, or simply savoring a cup of tea in silence, the choice is yours. And in that choice, you'll find a powerful tool for crushing self-doubt and stepping into your day with confidence. Remember, the morning isn't just the start of a new day, it's an opportunity to live a better life, one moment at a time. Are you as kind to yourself as you are to others? It's a question worth sitting with for a moment. So often, we extend patience, understanding, and forgiveness to others, but when it comes to ourselves, we're quick to criticize, judge, and doubt. Stoicism, often misunderstood as a philosophy of emotional detachment, actually teaches us the importance of self-compassion. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." But here's the twist: being strict with yourself doesn't mean being harsh. It means holding yourself to a standard of kindness and understanding, just as you would with someone you care about deeply. Self-compassion is a powerful antidote to self-doubt. When you treat yourself with the same warmth and empathy you'd offer a friend, you create a safe space to grow and learn. Instead of beating yourself up over mistakes or perceived shortcomings, you can acknowledge them, learn from them, and move forward. This isn't about making excuses or avoiding responsibility, it's about recognizing your humanity and embracing it fully. Let's try a practical exercise to put this into action. Start by paying attention to your inner dialogue. What do you say to yourself when you make a mistake or face a challenge? Are you encouraging and supportive or critical and dismissive? Now, imagine a close friend came to you with the same struggle. What would you say to them? How would you offer comfort and encouragement? That's the tone you want to bring to your self-talk. Here's a simple way to practice self-compassion daily. Each morning or evening, take a few moments to reflect on one thing you did well that day. It doesn't have to be grand. Maybe you handled a difficult conversation with grace, or you took a small step toward a goal you've been avoiding. Acknowledge that effort and say to yourself, "I'm proud of how I handled that." Over time, this practice rewires your mind to focus on your strengths rather than your doubts. So, where in your life can you start being kinder to yourself? Is it in your career, where you're quick to judge your performance? In your relationships, where you feel like you're never doing enough? Or maybe it's in your personal goals, where you've convinced yourself that progress isn't worth celebrating unless it's perfect. Take a moment to identify one area where you can extend more compassion to yourself. What would it feel like to let go of self-criticism and replace it with understanding? Self-compassion isn't about letting yourself off the hook. It's about giving yourself the same grace you'd offer someone you love. And when you do, you'll find that self-doubt begins to lose its grip. You'll start to see yourself not as a collection of flaws, but as a work in progress worthy of kindness and care. So the next time you're tempted to be hard on yourself, pause, take a breath, and ask, "What would I say to a friend in this moment?" the answer might just change the way you see yourself and the way you move through the world. The journey is the destination. It's a phrase we've all heard, but what does it truly mean? In the Stoic view, it's a reminder that life isn't about the trophies we collect or the accolades we earn. It's about the effort we put in, the steps we take, and the person we become along the way. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most profound voices, put it simply: focus on what's in your control and let go of what's not. For the Stoics, this meant focusing on your actions, your intentions, and your effort, rather than obsessing over outcomes that are often beyond your influence. Imagine you're learning to play the guitar. At first, your fingers ache, the chords sound off, and progress feels painfully slow. Self-doubt whispers that you'll never get it right, that you're wasting your time. But what if, instead of fixating on the end goal, playing a flawless song, you focused on the process? Each practice session, no matter how imperfect, is a step forward. Each mistake is a lesson. Each moment of frustration is an opportunity to build patience and resilience. When you shift your attention from the outcome to the effort, something remarkable happens. The pressure lifts. You're no longer chasing an elusive result. You're celebrating the act of showing up, of trying, of growing. This applies to every area of life. Think about a project you're working on, whether it's at work, in your relationships, or for a personal goal. Are you so focused on the end result that you're missing the value of the journey? Are you measuring your worth by the outcome rather than the effort you're putting in? Stoicism invites us to redefine success, not as a destination, but as a way of being. It's about showing up every day, doing your best, and letting go of the need for external validation or perfect results. So, how can you bring this into your own life? Start by identifying one area where you've been fixated on the outcome. Maybe it's a promotion you're hoping for, a fitness goal you're striving toward, or even a creative project you've been hesitant to start. Now ask yourself, what would it look like to focus on the process instead? What small, consistent actions can you take today to move forward, regardless of the result? Stoicism doesn't promise that the journey will be easy, but it does offer a powerful truth. When you focus on the process, you reclaim your power. You stop being a prisoner of outcomes and start being the architect of your own growth. And in that shift, you'll find not just resilience, but a deeper sense of fulfillment. After all, the journey isn't just a means to an end, it's where life happens. What's one process-oriented goal you can set today? How might shifting your focus from the outcome to the effort change the way you approach challenges? The choice is yours, and in that choice lies the freedom to embrace the journey one step at a time. Who do you spend your time with? It's a question that might seem simple, but its impact on your confidence and self-doubt can be profound. Stoicism teaches us that the people we surround ourselves with aren't just background characters in our lives, they're active influences shaping our thoughts, behaviors, and ultimately our character. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most insightful voices, wrote extensively about the power of friendship. He believed that true friends are mirrors, reflecting back not just who we are, but who we can become. Surrounding yourself with virtuous people, those who embody qualities like integrity, wisdom, and courage, can help you see your own potential more clearly. It's not about seeking out perfection in others, but about aligning yourself with those who inspire growth and encourage you to be your best self. Let's bring this into a real-world scenario. Imagine you're trying to build a new habit, like exercising regularly or pursuing a creative project. Now think about the people in your life. Are they cheering you on, offering encouragement, and modeling the kind of discipline you're striving for? Or are they subtly undermining your efforts, perhaps through indifference or even criticism? The truth is, the energy of those around us has a powerful effect on our motivation and self-belief. When you're surrounded by people who lift you up, who challenge you to grow, and who genuinely want to see you succeed, self-doubt has less room to take root. This isn't just about cutting people out of your life, it's about being intentional with your time and energy. It's about seeking out relationships that align with your values and goals. For instance, if you're looking to build confidence in your career, consider joining a professional community or finding a mentor who embodies the qualities you admire. If you're working on personal growth, connect with people who share your commitment to self-improvement. These relationships don't just happen by chance, they're cultivated through intention and effort. So take a moment to reflect. Who are the people you spend the most time with? Do they inspire you to grow, or do they leave you feeling drained and uncertain? This isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. By evaluating your social circle, you can start to make choices that support your growth rather than hinder it. Stoicism reminds us that while we can't control others, we can choose who we allow into our inner circle. And in that choice, we reclaim our power. Surrounding yourself with virtuous people isn't just a way to build confidence, it's a way to create a life that reflects your highest values. So, who will you choose to let in? The answer might just change the way you see yourself and the way you move through the world. Every decision you make shapes your character. It's a truth the Stoics held close, and one that can transform the way you approach life's choices. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. These words remind us that our decisions, no matter how small, are opportunities to exercise that power. When we act mindfully, with intention and awareness, we not only reduce self-doubt, we build a foundation of confidence that grows stronger with every choice we make. Mindful decision-making isn't about overanalyzing or seeking perfection. It's about pausing long enough to ask yourself, why am I making this choice? What values does it reflect? Stoicism teaches us to align our actions with our principles, to act not out of fear or impulse, but from a place of clarity and purpose. This deliberate approach cuts through the noise of self-doubt, helping us see what truly matters. Let's take an example many of us face, an ethical dilemma at work. Imagine you're asked to cut corners on a project to meet a tight deadline. The easy choice might be to go along with it to avoid conflict or criticism. But what if you paused and asked yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? What values do I want to embody? By choosing integrity over convenience, you're not just making a decision, you're shaping your character. And each time you do this, you reinforce your confidence in your ability to act with virtue, even when it's hard. Mindful decision-making isn't just about big, life-altering choices. It's also in the small, everyday moments, how you respond to a rude comment, whether you take the time to listen to someone who needs you, or even what you choose to focus on when self-doubt creeps in. Each of these decisions, no matter how minor they seem, adds up. They become the building blocks of who you are. So, take a moment to reflect. How do you approach decision-making in your own life? Are your choices driven by fear, habit, or external pressures? Or are they guided by your values and principles? The next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, try this. Pause. Take a breath, ask yourself, what would a person of integrity do? Then act from that place of clarity. When you practice mindful decision-making, you're not just building confidence, you're crafting a life that reflects who you truly are. And in that alignment, self-doubt loses its power. You become the author of your own story, one thoughtful choice at a time. What decision will you approach mindfully today? How might this practice reshape the way you see yourself and the world around you? The power is in your hands and in every choice you make. Why do we resist change? It's a question worth asking, especially when we consider how much of life is defined by it. From the seasons shifting to the inevitable transitions in our personal and professional lives, change is one of the few constants we can count on. And yet, so often, we meet it with fear, hesitation, or even outright resistance. Stoicism offers a different perspective, one that doesn't just accept change but embraces it as a natural, even necessary part of growth. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most influential teachers, put it plainly: everything is change, yet we ourselves do not change. At first, this might sound contradictory, but it's actually a profound truth. The world around us is in a constant state of flux, but we often cling to the illusion of permanence. We want things to stay the same because it feels safe, predictable, and familiar. But Stoicism reminds us that resisting change is like trying to hold back the tide. It's not only futile, but it also keeps us from flowing with the natural rhythm of life. Let's take a moment to bring this into a real-world scenario. Imagine you're facing a career transition. Maybe you've been laid off, or perhaps you're considering a shift to a completely new industry. The uncertainty can feel overwhelming, and self-doubt might creep in. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? But what if, instead of seeing this change as a threat, you saw it as an opportunity? What if you viewed it as a chance to learn, to grow, and to discover strengths you didn't even know you had? This is the Stoic approach to change. It's not about pretending that transitions are easy or that they don't come with challenges. It's about recognizing that change is inevitable and choosing to meet it with curiosity and courage rather than fear. When you embrace change as natural, you stop fighting against it and start working with it. You become like a tree bending in the wind, rooted in your values, yet flexible enough to adapt to whatever comes your way. So, what change are you facing in your own life? Is it a new role at work, a shift in a relationship, or even a personal goal that feels out of reach? Take a moment to identify one change you can begin to embrace. Ask yourself, what's the opportunity here? What can I learn from this? How can I grow through it? By shifting your perspective, you transform change from a source of self-doubt into a catalyst for growth. Stoicism doesn't promise that change will always be easy, but it does remind us that we have the power to choose how we respond to it. And in that choice lies the freedom to not just endure change, but to thrive because of it. So, the next time life throws you a curveball, remember, change isn't the enemy, it's the teacher. And in its lessons, you'll find the resilience and confidence to move forward one step at a time. Simplicity is the path to peace. It's a truth the Stoics understood deeply, and one that holds the key to reducing self-doubt in our modern, often chaotic lives. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." These words cut to the heart of why simplicity matters. When we strip away the excess, whether it's physical clutter, mental distractions, or unnecessary obligations, we create space for clarity, focus, and ultimately inner peace. Think about it. How often do we overwhelm ourselves with more tasks, more possessions, more commitments, only to feel scattered and unsure? Self-doubt thrives in this chaos, feeding on the noise and distraction that comes with a cluttered life. But when we simplify, we quiet that noise. We give ourselves room to breathe, to reflect, and to act with intention. Let's take decluttering as an example. Imagine walking into a room filled with unnecessary items, old clothes you never wear, papers you don't need, gadgets you rarely use. It's overwhelming, right? Now imagine clearing that space, keeping only what serves you. The difference isn't just physical, it's mental. A clean, organized environment can calm your mind, reduce stress, and help you think more clearly. The same principle applies to other areas of life. Simplifying your schedule, for instance, by saying no to commitments that drain your energy, frees up time for what truly matters. Here's a practical way to start. Choose one area of your life to simplify today. It could be your workspace, your daily routine, or even your digital life. Maybe it's as simple as clearing your desk or unsubscribing from emails that no longer serve you. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Each small step toward simplicity is a step toward peace, toward a life where self-doubt has less room to take root. Stoicism teaches us that inner peace isn't found in adding more to our lives, but in subtracting what we don't need. It's about creating a life that aligns with our values, free from the weight of excess. So, what's one thing you can let go of today? What's one area where simplicity could bring you clarity and calm? The choice is yours, and in that choice lies the power to create a life of peace, purpose, and confidence. Are you rushing through life? It's easy to fall into the trap of wanting everything to happen right now. Success, recognition, progress. But Stoicism reminds us that true strength often lies in the ability to wait. Patience isn't just about waiting, it's about cultivating a mindset that trusts the process even when the results aren't immediate. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "The universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it." These words invite us to see patience not as passive waiting, but as an active choice to align ourselves with the natural flow of life. Self-doubt often creeps in when we feel like we're not moving fast enough. We compare our journey to others and wonder why we're not there yet. But Stoicism teaches us that growth, whether in our careers, relationships, or personal development, takes time. It's not a race, it's a steady, intentional climb. The key is to focus on what you can control, your effort, your attitude, your persistence, and let go of the rest. Let's bring this into a practical context. Imagine you're working toward a promotion at work. You've put in the hours, taken on extra projects, and proven your skills, but the opportunity hasn't come yet. It's easy to feel frustrated, to doubt your abilities, or even to question whether you're on the right path. But what if, instead of rushing the outcome, you focused on what you can do today? What if you saw this waiting period as a chance to refine your skills, build stronger relationships, or explore new ways to add value? This is the power of patience. It's not about sitting back and hoping things will change. It's about using the time wisely, trusting that your efforts will bear fruit when the time is right. When you approach life with this mindset, self-doubt loses its grip. You stop measuring your worth by how quickly you achieve results and start valuing the journey itself. So, where in your life can you practice patience today? Is it in your career, where you're waiting for that next big break? In your relationships, where you're working to build deeper connections? Or maybe it's in your personal growth, where progress feels slow but steady. Take a moment to identify one area where you can ease the pressure and embrace the process. What small, intentional steps can you take today to move forward without rushing? Stoicism doesn't promise that patience will make life easier, but it does remind us that it makes life richer. When you learn to wait with purpose, you build a foundation of confidence that no timeline can shake. So the next time you feel the urge to rush, pause. Take a breath and remember, the best things in life, growth, wisdom, resilience, are worth waiting for. How will you practice patience today? What shift in perspective could help you trust the process a little more? The choice is yours, and in that choice lies the freedom to grow at your own pace, one patient step at a time. Your influence is greater than you think. Often, we underestimate the impact we can have on the world around us, focusing instead on what feels beyond our control. Stoicism offers a powerful framework to shift this perspective. It teaches us to direct our energy toward what we can influence rather than wasting it on what we can't. As Epictetus wisely said, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. This simple yet profound idea reminds us that true power lies not in controlling everything, but in focusing on where we can make a difference. Think about it. How much of your mental energy is spent worrying about things outside your control? The opinions of others, the state of the world, or even the outcomes of your efforts, these are all areas where your influence is limited. But when you shift your focus to your circle of influence, the things you can change, you reclaim your agency. You stop being a passive observer and start becoming an active participant in your own life. Let's take mentoring as an example. Imagine you're in a position to guide someone younger or less experienced, whether at work, in your community, or even within your family. You might think, what difference can I really make? But the truth is, your influence in that moment is profound. By sharing your knowledge, offering encouragement, or simply listening, you're shaping someone else's journey in ways you may never fully see. That's the power of focusing on your circle of influence. It's not about changing the world overnight. It's about making a meaningful impact where you can. Now, let's bring this into your own life. Take a moment to reflect what's within your circle of influence right now. Maybe it's how you show up in your relationships, listening more, offering support, or setting boundaries. Perhaps it's your daily habits, choosing to prioritize your health, your growth, or your peace of mind. Or maybe it's your work, how you approach challenges, collaborate with others, or mentor those around you. Whatever it is, identify one area where you can focus your energy and make a difference today. Stoicism doesn't promise that you'll always get the results you want, but it does remind you that your effort matters. When you focus on your circle of influence, you build confidence not because you've solved every problem, but because you've taken ownership of what you can control. And in that ownership, you'll find a quiet strength, one that grows with every small, intentional step you take. So, where will you focus your influence today? What's one thing you can do to make a positive impact, no matter how small? The choice is yours, and in that choice lies the power to shape not just your own life, but the lives of those around you. What can you learn from others? It's a question that might seem simple, but its implications are profound. Stoicism teaches us that humility is not a sign of weakness, it's a gateway to growth. When we approach life with humility, we open ourselves to new perspectives, deeper understanding, and the opportunity to become better versions of ourselves. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most insightful voices, wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." These words remind us that humility isn't about diminishing our worth. It's about recognizing that we are always works in progress with room to grow and learn. Humility is a powerful antidote to self-doubt. When we're humble, we're less likely to compare ourselves to others or feel threatened by their success. Instead, we see every interaction as a chance to learn, to improve, and to connect. Think about it. When you approach someone with genuine humility, you're not just acknowledging their strengths, you're also creating space for your own growth. Let's bring this into a practical scenario. Imagine you're working on a team project and a colleague offers feedback on your work. It's easy to feel defensive, to let self-doubt creep in and question your abilities. But what if, instead of shutting down, you approached their feedback with humility? What if you saw it as an opportunity to improve, to see your work from a new angle, and to strengthen your skills? This shift in mindset doesn't just reduce self-doubt, it builds confidence. It reminds you that growth isn't about being perfect, it's about being open to learning. Here's a simple way to practice humility daily. Ask for feedback. Whether it's from a colleague, a friend, or even someone you admire, inviting input shows that you value their perspective and are willing to grow. It's not about seeking validation or criticism, it's about creating a dialogue that helps you see your blind spots and build on your strengths. So, where in your life can you practice humility today? Is it at work, where you can seek out a mentor or ask for constructive feedback? In your relationships, where you can listen more deeply and admit when you're wrong? Or maybe it's in your personal growth, where you can acknowledge that you don't have all the answers, and that's okay. Humility isn't about shrinking yourself, it's about expanding your capacity to learn and grow. It's a practice that doesn't just reduce self-doubt, it transforms it into a source of strength. So, the next time you feel the pull of pride or insecurity, pause. Take a breath and ask yourself, what can I learn from this moment? The answer might just change the way you see yourself and the world around you. Growth is a lifelong journey, not a destination. This is one of the core truths Stoicism invites us to embrace. The Stoics believed that life is a continuous process of learning, adapting, and evolving. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." These words remind us that every challenge, every mistake, and every setback is an opportunity to grow. It's not about avoiding failure or striving for perfection. It's about seeing every experience, good or bad, as a chance to become wiser, stronger, and more resilient. A growth mindset isn't just about positive thinking, it's about deliberate action. It's the belief that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. Think about the last time you made a mistake. Did you see it as a reflection of your limitations or as an opportunity to improve? The Stoics would argue that mistakes are not failures, they're lessons. Each one is a stepping stone guiding you closer to your potential. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine you're learning a new skill like public speaking. At first, you might stumble over your words, forget your points, or feel overwhelmed by nerves. A fixed mindset would tell you, "This isn't for me, I'm just not good at this." But a growth mindset says, "This is hard right now, but with practice, I'll get better." Every time you step on that stage, no matter how it goes, you're building your confidence and refining your craft. Over time, those small improvements add up, transforming you into someone who not only speaks with ease but also inspires others. So, how can you cultivate a growth mindset in your own life? Start by reframing your challenges. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" When you face a setback, don't dwell on the disappointment, focus on the lesson. What did this experience teach you about yourself? How can you use it to move forward? Stoicism doesn't promise that growth will be easy, but it does assure us that it's always possible. By embracing a mindset of continuous improvement, you shift from being a passive observer of your life to an active participant in your own evolution. And in that shift, you'll find not just confidence, but a deep sense of purpose. What's one area of your life where you can adopt a growth mindset today? Is it in your career, your relationships, or a personal goal you've been hesitant to pursue? Take a moment to reflect and then take that first step. Remember, growth isn't about reaching the finish line. It's about enjoying the journey, one lesson at a time. What would you do if today were your last day? It's a question that might feel uncomfortable at first, but it's one of the most powerful tools Stoicism offers for cutting through self-doubt and living with purpose. The Stoics practiced something called memento mori, Latin for "remember you must die." Far from being morbid, this practice is about clarity. It's a reminder that life is finite, and when we truly embrace that truth, we're forced to confront what really matters. Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest thinkers, wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." These words challenge us to stop putting off what's important and start living with intention. So, how does reflecting on mortality help us overcome self-doubt? When we imagine our time as limited, the trivial worries that consume us, what others think, whether we're good enough or whether we'll succeed, start to lose their grip. Suddenly, the stakes feel different. You're not just asking, "What if I fail?" You're asking, "What if I don't try?" That shift in perspective can be liberating. It reminds us that self-doubt is often a distraction, keeping us from taking the risks and pursuing the dreams that truly matter. Let's bring this into practice with a simple exercise. Take a moment to reflect on your priorities. If today were your last day, what would you want to have done? What relationships would you want to nurture? What passions would you want to pursue? Write down your answers. Now ask yourself, what's stopping you from doing those things today? Often, the barriers we perceive, fear, self-doubt, or the opinions of others, are smaller than we think. By focusing on what truly matters, you gain the courage to act despite those fears. This doesn't mean you have to quit your job or make drastic changes overnight. It's about taking small, intentional steps toward what you value most. Maybe it's reaching out to a loved one you've been meaning to call, starting that creative project you've been putting off, or simply giving yourself permission to enjoy the present moment. When you align your actions with your deepest priorities, self-doubt begins to fade. You're no longer living for the approval of others or the illusion of perfection. You're living for what truly matters to you. Stoicism teaches us that reflecting on mortality isn't about fear, it's about freedom. It's a reminder to stop waiting for the right time and start creating the life you want, one intentional choice at a time. So, what's one thing you can do today to live more intentionally? What step can you take to move closer to what truly matters? The answers are within you, waiting to guide you toward a life of purpose, clarity, and unshakable confidence. By embracing memento mori, you're not just confronting the reality of death, you're reclaiming the power of life. And in that reclamation, you'll find the courage to silence self-doubt and step boldly into the life you're meant to live. We've explored 26 powerful Stoic techniques to crush self-doubt, and together they form a roadmap for building unshakable confidence. From understanding the dichotomy of control to embracing imperfection, practicing gratitude, and cultivating resilience, each technique is a tool to help you navigate life's challenges with clarity and strength. These principles aren't about ignoring your emotions or pretending everything is fine. They're about facing reality head-on, focusing on what you can control, and growing through every experience. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea that self-doubt isn't a life sentence. It's a challenge, an opportunity to examine your thoughts, reframe your mindset, and take deliberate action. By shifting your focus from external outcomes to internal growth, you reclaim your power. You stop being a prisoner of fear and start becoming the architect of your own confidence. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest voices, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." These words capture the essence of what we've explored. True strength isn't about controlling the world around you. It's about mastering your responses, embracing your journey, and finding peace in the midst of uncertainty. Now it's your turn to take these principles and apply them. Start small. Choose one technique that resonates with you, whether it's journaling to build self-awareness, practicing voluntary discomfort to strengthen resilience, or focusing on the process rather than the outcome. Reflect on your progress, celebrate your growth, and remember that every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. We'd love to hear how these Stoic techniques are helping you in your journey. Share your experiences, insights, or even questions in the comments below. And if you found this video valuable, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more Stoic wisdom to help you live with purpose and confidence. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Remember, self-doubt doesn't define you, it's just a chapter in your story. With these tools, you have everything you need to write the next one. Until next time, stay strong, stay stoic, and keep moving.